Hello friends, good evening. Hello everyone. Yes, good evening Ram Kumar. Hello everyone, welcome to Unacademy, India's largest online learning platform. Let's crack UPSC CSE English. Now before I start the session, let me introduce myself for the people who are new on the platform or who are attending my session for the first time. My name is Alok Ojha. I've done my engineering from Pune. I have been associated with the field of UPSC since past 7 years. I have been through various stages of Civil Services exam. I hold the experience of giving CDS SSB twice. I also hold the experience of exams like CAPF Assistant Commandant and Uttar Pradesh PSC. I am involved into the field of teaching since past 5 years and I have mentored more than 15,000 aspirants for UPSC. Today we are going to discuss one of the most dynamic topic, that is Congress, Swadeshi Movement and Morley Minto reforms. Yes, Pragya, good evening. Yes, Seema, good evening. There might be question in the mind of an aspirant why one should prefer Unacademy as a platform for online learning. So here are the ample of reasons why one should prefer Unacademy as a platform for online learning. First of all, you'll have daily life classes on the Unacademy platform. Unacademy offers you assimilation of top and dynamic educators of India on a single platform. You can directly interact with the educators. You can clear all sorts of doubts with the educators. Second most important aspect, Unacademy helps to build up your competence by going through live tests and quizzes. And all the courses on Unacademy platform are highly structured in nature and there is a proper timetable through which the courses are being conducted. One can have unlimited access to the courses on Unacademy platform. Here are the few top and dynamic educators of India from whom you are going to learn through. Now, Unacademy covers the syllabus in a very comprehensive manner. There is a proper focus on each and every aspect of the GS, right from history, geography, polity, economics, science and tech, current affairs to the part of answer writing skill. There is also a proper focus on the optional subject as well, like history optional, geography optional, political science, public administration. Apart from that, there is also focus on the literature part, like Hindi literature, Maithili literature, Kannada literature, Telugu literature, English literature, and so on. Now, Unacademy has also come up with Unacademy, what we say iconic subscription. Now, what is iconic subscription all about? During the initial days, the preparation is completely haphazard, and an aspirant is majorly confused about what should I read, where should I start my preparation from, what all sources should I prefer, then what should be read for the current affairs. Now, how much time should be dedicated towards the current affairs, how an optional needs to be chosen up. So please do not worry. Unacademy has come up with iconic subscription in which there would be a mentor who would be guiding you throughout your journey for civil services preparation. So if you choose me as your mentor, please use my code AKOUS. I repeat the code AKOUS. Yes, good evening, Vinod. Now these are 6 month, 1 year, 2 years and NCERT specific batches. Unacademy has also come up with Unacademy Combat. That will be held on 28th of February. And 45 minutes 60 question, there would be a relative scoring and it is held every fortnight. And there are exciting prizes involved here. Now these are the special classes conducted by me previously. So please do subscribe to Unacademy and use my code AKOUS. I repeat the code AKOUS. Now, let us discuss about the formation of Indian National Congress. The revolt of 1857 had created a base of unity and it has created an enthusiasm and patriotic zeal among the nationalists of India. And from 1857 onwards till 1885, there were many pre-Congress organizations. This played a very major role in creating a fervor of nationalist zeal and patriotism among the people of India, and probably a ground has been prepared already for an all India organization. And a major role here was being played by a retired civil servant whose name was Alan Octavian Hume. Okay, Now, Alan Octavian Hume initially formed Indian National Association, and there was also a formation of Indian National Indian National Conference, and its meetings were held in 1883 and 1885. And a very major and a pioneering role here was being played by Surendranath Banerjee and Anand Mohan Bose. Finally, Indian National Congress was formed on 28 December 1885 at a place called as Gokuldas Tejpal Sanskrit College at Bombay. Initially, the venue was decided as Pune, but since there was an outbreak of an epidemic like plague in this region, basically it is said that the venue was shifted to Bombay. The first session of the Indian National Congress was attended by 72 delegates, and it was being presided by Bomesh Chandra Banerjee. The secretary to the first session of the Indian National Congress was Alan Octavian Hume. Now, in the first session of the Indian National Congress, all the nationalists showed deep dissatisfaction with the current system of government or the current system of administration that was going on in the country at that time. And with the passage of time, the number of delegates started increasing in the Indian National Congress sessions. The second session of the Indian National Congress was held at a place called as Calcutta and was presided by Grand Old Man of India, that is Dadabhai Navroji. Now, in the second session of the Indian National Congress, it was decided that we are going to meet every year at a particular place in India. And we are going to discuss the issues of national concern or the issues of national importance. The third session of the Indian National Congress was presided by the first minority president of India. That is the first minority president of India, that is Badruddin Tayabji. And the session was held in Madras. As I have told you, the number of sessions of the Indian National Congress or the number of delegates in the sessions of Indian National Congress kept on increasing with the passage of time. Can you believe that around 1889, 1890, the number of delegates to the Indian National Congress sessions were approximately around 1500 to 2000. The 1889 session of the Indian National Congress was being addressed by Kadambini Ganguly, and she was the first female graduate, first women graduate of Calcutta University, and that session was being presided by Lion of Bombay, that is Firoz Shah Mehta. Okay, did you get the background till here, guys? Please let me know. Yes, did you understand the background, guys? Okay, now let us discuss about the aim and objective of the Congress. First of all, to establish a democratic nationalist movement. That is, what does the democracy says in very simple words? Government of the people, by the people and for the people. Now the nationalists of India are demanding that we want the government which is chosen by the people and not imposed upon the people. So now it was necessary to politically educate the people, to politically sensitize the people, so that people could be made aware about the current system of governance, because people by now had accepted slavery as a part of their life. So it is necessary to politically educate the people and make them aware about the current system of governance that is going on in the country. And if one needs to have a movement on a large scale, a headquarters need to be established for the national movement. So initially, Calcutta was being decided as the headquarters for the national movement. As I have told you, Indian National Congress was a platform where the delegates from all over the India came together and discussed the issues of national concern and importance. Since these people belong to different background, different cultures, different beliefs, different traditions, first of all, we need to build up a proper friendly relations and unity among the political workers and the nationalists of various rank who came from the different parts of the country, so that they can fight against a common enemy, that is the Britishers. Then, initially, we have seen that revolt of 1857, although it was quite successful, but it was quite local in character. Although Bahadur Shah Zafar, he was declared as the leader of the revolt of 1857, but there was no major common cause. Everyone was fighting for his own cause. Like if the zamindars are involved in the what we say revolt of 1857, they were fighting for their own personal cause. If the peasants are involved here, they were fighting for their own personal cause. Artisans were fighting for their own personal cause. Soldiers were fighting for their own personal cause. So the major aspect that we need to understand here, that everyone was fighting for their own personal cause and not a common cause. Okay, so the major aspect that we need to understand here is we need to have a common unified program to fight against the Britishers. A common setup, a common cause. Okay, then we have to create a feeling of national unity among the people of India, because India is a diverse country, and here the cultural unity of India should remain intact while fighting against a common enemy. Why? Because we are fighting against the Britishers, and Britishers right from the start have always played one game in India, that is divide and rule. That is dividing the country on the casteist line. So basically it is said that the major aim here was to create a national unity among the people of India, irrespective of the race, religion, caste, province, and so on. And first of all, we need to nurture the feeling of nationhood. Like few days back, I had explained the difference between state and the nation. State defines the political boundaries of a country, and nation is feeling of belongingness towards one's country. So these were the major aims and objectives of the Congress when it was formed initially. Okay. Now, before I start the Swadeshi movement, let me talk about the moderates and the extremists as well. Now, right from the start itself, Congress was divided on ideological perspective. And there were two ideologies that were prevalent in the Congress: the moderates and the extremists. Now, moderates believed in providential mission theory. And what is that providential mission theory? If we remain loyal to the Britishers, some or the other day, Britishers are going to repay back us for our loyalty. And they believe in peaceful and bloodless struggle. They believe that we want independence, but not all of a sudden, but in a gradual, stage by stage manner. Secondly, they believe in 3 P's, that is prayer, protest, and petition. And the pattern of working of the extremist was completely and altogether different from the moderates. Moderates completely rejected the providential mission theory. They believed that basically Britishers are unworthy to claim Indian loyalty. And secondly, if independence could have been got by staying within the constitutional limit, there couldn't have been revolutions in the world like American Revolution and French Revolution. So we need to go beyond the constitutional limit to gain independence. Such was a belief of extremists. There are various moderate leaders like Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Dadabhai Navroji, Firoz Shah Mehta, and many more. And there were expert extremist leaders like Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Lala Lajpat Rai, Aurobindo Ghosh, Bipin Chandra Pal, and many more. So this is the major difference between the working pattern of moderates and the extremist. Did you understand this point, guys? Please let me know. Okay. Did you understand this, guys? Okay. Now let's talk about Swadeshi movement and partition of Bengal. Now, Lord Curzon around 1905 was the Viceroy of India. And now Lord Curzon came up with a program which is called as partition of Bengal. Now he wanted to divide Bengal into 2 parts, that is West Bengal and East Bengal. Now what was the major reason cited by the Britishers here? That Bengal is a big presidency and it has become too big to be administered by a single Viceroy. That is why we are planning to divide the Bengal into 2 parts, that is West Bengal and East Bengal. Now, This was the actual intention that was revealed by them. But what was the hidden agenda behind that? The hidden agenda was to distribute the Bengal, or to distribute the people, or to divide the people on the communal lines. Why? Because West Bengal was a Hindu majority region and East Bengal was a Muslim majority region, and they wanted to divide they wanted to break the cultural fabric of unity in India, and that is why Britishers decided to partition the Bengal. And against this move of the Britishers, there was Swadeshi Movement that was launched. The call for Swadeshi Movement was taken at Banaras session of Indian National Congress, which was presided by Gopal Krishna Gokhale. And there are positive as well as negative elements of the Swadeshi Movement. Both positive and negative elements of Swadeshi Movement are positive. But since the working pattern is different, that is why they have been categorized as positive and negative elements. Okay? Now, positive elements. First of all, regeneration of indigenous industries. Now, Swadeshi and boycott, they are not majorly different. They are both complementary to each other. How? What is the meaning of Swadeshi? Swadeshi means we are only going to use those goods which are produced in our own country. And boycott means we are going to boycott the foreign goods. And why Swadeshi and boycott both are complementary to each other? We are only going to adopt the indigenous goods when we are going to boycott the foreign good. That is why this is complementary to each other. I'll give you a small example so that you can understand the concept. Now, when Britishers came in India, they started commercialized agriculture and they forced our peasants to cultivate commercial crops like cotton. Okay. Now, it is said that basically, now cotton that was produced in India, it went to Manchester or Liverpool. From there, it went to London, where it was converted into a manufactured textile. And again, it came back to India as a finished product. Suppose if this cotton is purchased at rupees 1, it was now sold in India at rupees 10. In a very methodological format, in a very systematic manner, India's resources were being drained out of India. And this is called as drain of wealth. And this theory was highlighted by Dadabhai Navroji in his book, Poverty and Un-British Rule in India. Now, what did people do? People started adopting Indian handicraft. Like, since the ancient times, the handicraft of India was quite famous. Like dhoti and dupatta of Gujarat, muslin of Dhaka, carpets and shawl of Lahore, and various other objects. And these handicrafts of India were high in demand in the international market. But Britishers completely paralyzed the handicraft industry of India, the indigenous industries of India, by adopting mercantilist policies. Like, the export duty was quite high, so people stopped preferring Indian handicraft. Now, Indian market was flooded by cheap, substandard British goods. And now, the prices of handicraft fell drastically. In a systematic manner, our rural industry was completely paralyzed by the policies adopted by the Britishers. And Swadeshi movement was a time when we can revive back our indigenous industries, our rural industry. So that is regeneration of indigenous goods. Then, boycott of foreign goods led to increase in the demand of indigenous good. And here we can see mushrooming up of indigenous textile mills in the region of Ahmedabad, Gujarat, and in the region of Bengal. Okay, it gave a driving force for the Bombay mill owners in the Bombay and Ahmedabad. Then handloom industry, which was completely destroyed previously, now this was the time that handloom industry could be revived back. And what are the negative elements here? Foreign clothes were brought on the street and they were burned. That is peaceful picketing. Then foreign sugar and salt were completely boycotted, and there was social boycott method as well adopted here. Like, for example, if at any place, if a shopkeeper was found selling foreign sugar or foreign salt, he was socially boycotted. Brahmins refused to perform the puja, or Brahmins refused to perform religious ceremony wherein foreign sugar or salt was used. Now, foreign objects were brought in the street and they were completely burnt. So these are the positive and the negative elements. Okay. Apart from this, students participated actively in the movement. Women participated actively in the movement. Lawyers also participated in the movement. Like it is said that students boycotted government schools and colleges. Lawyers boycotted the law courts. And it is said that Calcutta University was completely boycotted, because Calcutta University at that time was criticized as Gulam Khana, a factory of producing slaves or a house of manufacturing slave. Why? Because the students who were passed out from there, they started working as the administrators for the company, not the company, but the Britishers. That is why Calcutta University, government schools and colleges were completely boycotted. And when there is a boycott of government schools and colleges, automatically there was mushrooming up of national schools and colleges. So national schools and colleges were being set up. And media played a very major role in spreading the Swadeshi movement in the entire region of Bengal. Okay? It played a very dynamic role, it played a very exemplary role in spreading the entire movement in the region of Bengal. Like the 4 newspapers of Calcutta, that is Bengali, Amrit Bazar Patrika. If you remember this, guys, we have studied Vernacular Press Act 1878. And as per this act, 4 newspapers had to stop the publications. Do you remember this? Som Prakash, Dakka Prakash, Bharat Mihir and Samachar. They had to stop the publication. And one newspaper overnight became an English newspaper. That was Amrit Bazar Patrika. So Amrit Bazar Patrika openly published against the partition of Bengal. Then Indian Mirror newspaper of Keshav Chandra Sen, it published against partition of Bengal, and the Hindu Patriot. There were many vernacular newspapers like Sanjeevani and Bangabhasi. They also wrote against the partition of Bengal. Now it is said that Amrit Bazar Patrika, it circulated a petition in the region of East Bengal. Like it wanted to know that how many people are supporting the partition of Bengal and how many are opposed to the partition of Bengal. So approximately around 1 lakh people signed the petition which was against the partition of Bengal. This completely highlights that Hindu-Muslim unity was intact during the movement. Now what happened further? Let us understand about the course of the movement. Now Swadeshi movement became quite successful in the region of Bengal. And now initially in 1905 it was decided that basically Swadeshi movement would remain just confined to the region of Bengal and it will not go outside the Bengal. But the movement became so successful in the region of Bengal that nationalists and specifically the extremists decided to take the movement out of the region of Bengal and let it spread to the entire nation. Now, this movement is also called as Vande Mataram movement because the streets were full of slogans like Vande Mataram. And like Surendranath Banerjee and Anand Mohan Bose played a very major role in sensitizing the masses in the region of Bengal. The tours of Bipin Chandra Pal in the region of Bengal electrified the masses. Now, from Bengal, the movement reached Bombay. And a very exemplary role was being played here by Tiger of Bombay, that is Bal Gangadhar Tilak ji. Now, the movement was not that successful in the region of United Province, that is the present day Uttar Pradesh. Now, the tours of Lokmanya Tilak electrified the masses and specifically the youth in the region of United Province. Like, it created a feeling of stir among the students in this region. So initially it was in Bengal. Then it spread to Bombay. From Bombay, it moved on to United Province. The movement became very successful in the region of Punjab. And here a leading role was being played by Sher-e Punjab, that is Lala Lajpat Rai ji, and Ajit Singh, who was the uncle of Bhagat Singh. And now people in the region of Punjab were also sensitized for using indigenous goods. From here onwards, the movement spread to Delhi, Kangra, Himachal Pradesh, Rawalpindi, and many other regions. And here, a major role was being played by Sayyid Haider Raza. I repeat, Sayyid Haider Raza. From here onwards, it moved towards southern part of India, that is Madras Presidency. And a very major and a pioneering role here was being played by Chidambaram Pillai. Okay, so initially, as I have told you, the movement was just confined to Bengal, and from here onwards it spread to Bengal to Bombay, then United Province, Punjab, Delhi, Himachal Pradesh, Kangra, Rawalpindi. Then it moved towards southern part of India, and a pioneering role here was being played by Chidambaram Pillai. Like in the region of Bombay, Ganesh Festival or Ganpati Festival and Shivaji Festival played a very major role in cementing Hindu-Muslim unity and highlighting the flaws of the Britishers. Traditional folk theatre in the Bengal also played a very dynamic role here. Gujarati-speaking districts of Bombay kept aloof from the movement. They kept away from the Swadeshi movement. Okay? And on 15th August 1906, National Council of Education was set up. It was completely based on Shanti Niketan, which is belonged to Rabindranath Tagore ji. Bengal Technical Institute was set up so that technical education could be imparted to the college pass out students. Okay, even women participated in the movement, and there was mushrooming of indigenous industry, textile industry, soap and match factory, banks, insurance company, tanneries, chemical factories, and so on. People drew the inspiration from our past. Okay, people drew the inspiration from the past. Okay, like I'll give an example. Abhindranath Tagore derived inspiration from Indian art and culture. Nandalal Bose, he also left an imprint on the Indian art, and many other like Jagdish Chandra Bose, Prafull Chandra Ray, they pioneered research in the field of science. Okay guys, now what happened later on? Now, as I have told you right from the start itself, Britishers had always played two games in India: divide and rule and carrot and stick policy. And by now Britishers have seen here that there was a conflict in the working pattern of moderates and extremists both. Why? As I have told you right from the start itself, moderates had a different working style and extremists had a different working pattern. Moderates wanted the movement just to be confined in the region of Bengal, but extremists wanted the movement to spread outside the region of Bengal in the entire India. So what happened basically here? Now majorly the movement spread outside the Bengal, and now there were ideological differences that came to fore. Like in 1906, extremists wanted Lala Lajpat Rai ji or Bal Gangadhar Tilak ji to become the president of Indian National Congress. But moderates proposed the name of Dadabhai Naoroji. Although he was a moderate leader, but he was revered and respected by nationalists of all the rank. But these people, the extremists, were successful in passing 4 Calcutta resolutions, that is Swaraj, Swadeshi, boycott and national education. And in 1907, it is said that the venue was initially Bombay, but later on it was shifted to Surat. And here there was again a conflict over the presidentship. And finally, there was a split in the Congress in 1907, which is also referred as Surat split. And now, as I have told you, Britishers always adopted one policy, and that is carrot and stick. If they have to pacify the moderates, they have to suppress the extremists. So for pacifying the moderates, Britishers called moderate leaders like Gopal Krishna Gokhale to London, and there they were discussing a bait of fresh reforms, which culminated in Indian Council Act 1909 or Morley Minto reforms. And here Britishers came up heavily on the extremist leaders, like shouting of Vande Mataram on the public street was banned. Press was gagged, it was controlled. Police assault was frequent, there was frequent lathi charge. Rural markets were controlled. Then Lala Lajpat Rai ji, he went to England. Bal Gangadhar Tilak ji was sentenced to 6 years jail in Mandalay, that is Burma. Bipin Chandra Pal retired from the active politics. Aurobindo Ghosh retired from the active politics, and the entire Swadeshi movement fizzled out. Okay? So this is majorly about the Swadeshi movement. Hope so the points are clear, my friends. Please let me know. Yes, guys, are the points clear? Okay, now let's discuss Morley Minto Reforms 1909 and let's talk about its background. Initially, Britishers had come up with Indian Council Act 1892 and indirect representation was given to the Indians there. But rise of extremism by now, Britishers had to come up with a new act, and just while back I have told you, if they have to suppress the extremist, they have to pacify the moderates. And now, when extremists were carrying out the movement throughout the entire India, moderates were negotiating with the Britishers in London. Why? Because Britishers had offered, at that time, Morley was Secretary of State for India and Minto was Viceroy of India. And they had offered a bait of fresh reforms which culminated in Indian Council Act 1909 or Morley Minto Reforms 1909. Now, why it is called as Morley Minto Reforms? Because Morley was Secretary of State for India and Minto was Viceroy of India. Now, let us understand the salient provisions of Morley Minto Reforms. Please listen to the provisions. You'll come to know that how in a very systematic fashion Britishers were trying to create fool out of Indians. Now listen to me. Now, the Act enlarged Imperial and the Provincial Legislative Council. Okay? Now, initially, the number of members in the Imperial Legislative Council was 16. Now, it has increased to 60 member. 60. But pay attention properly, guys, so that you can easily understand the concept. Now, one who is reading the provisions will feel that more number of Indians are associated in the administration. But this was not the case. Please do not go on the numbers. I'll explain you how Britishers were trying to fool us. Now, how many members have they projected? 60. How many members were there previously? 16, 1-6. But let us understand about the division of the 60 member. Okay? Out of 60 member, 33 were nominated and 27 were elected. Okay? Out of 60, 33 were nominated and 27 were elected. And who will be the nominated members? Those who are loyal to the Britishers. They would be nominated. Now let us understand about the division of 27 elected members. Out of 27 elected, 8 were reserved for Muslim. 6 were reserved for big landlords or zamindar and 2 were reserved for British capitalist. 8 plus 6 plus 2, that is 16. And how many are elected totally? 27. Okay? Elections would be held actually for how many? Just 11. Did you understand that how Britishers are playing diplomatic games here? How many seats they have actually projected? 60. And how many seats the elections would be held actually for how many seats? 11. Can you understand this? Because the other people who were nominated or for whom the seats were reserved, they were loyal to the Britishers. For the first time, as per Morley Minto reforms, Muslims were given the representation here because separate electorate was given to the Muslim. So this is about the Imperial Legislative Council. Now about Provincial Legislative Council. Okay. Now in Provincial Legislative Council, it depended upon the size of the province. Like for Bombay, Bengal, United Province and Madras, the seats were 50. And in Assam, Burma and Punjab, there were 30 members totally. Now, they could discuss budget. The members could discuss the budget. They can ask supplementary questions. They can discuss the issues of public importance, except army and foreign policy. That is defense and foreign policy. But They cannot vote upon it. So what is the use of giving such powers? For example, if government is spending more amount of money in weapons rather than spending for the welfare of the people, because India is not a nation which is going to colonize other nation. Britishers are involved in colonizing the other nations of the world. So for that, they continuously have to wage war. They continuously have to fight the battle. And here, they are going to invest more amount of money in weapons rather than spending that money in what we say, rather than spending that money for the welfare of the people. So you can discuss the budget, but you cannot vote upon that. So what is the use of giving that power? Okay, and in fact, your discussing power of the budget can also be cancelled by the Governor General. So it was nothing but shadow rather than the substance. We were just shown that you are given more powers, but actually we were not given that sort of powers. Okay, an Indian member was appointed to Governor General Executive Council, and Satyendra Nath Sinha was the first Indian member to be appointed. Okay, 2 Indian were nominated to the Council of Secretary of State of India. If you remember Government of India Act 1858, as per Government of India Act 1858, there would be Council of 15 members to assist Secretary of State for India in performing his duty. Okay, and out of which year 2 Indian members were nominated. So this is majorly about Indian Council Act 1909 or Morley Minto Reforms 1909. Hope so the points are clear, my friends. Did you understand this? Yes, guys, did you understand this? Any query, any question, any sort of doubt, please ask me. Okay, guys. So hope so you understood everything. So if you like my lectures, please do subscribe to Unacademy by using my code AKOUS to get 10% benefit on your subscription. I repeat the code AKOUS. Thank you and have a very, very nice day. Bye-bye.